Hey guys, what's going on? Troy at Mountain Man Treasure here, and good news! The Winter Cellar update's here!
Mountain Man. Treasures.
Yeah, welcome into the channel, guys. My name is Troy. I'm a reseller in Montana. Garage sales, estate sales, thrift stores. I frequent these places. I buy stuff, and then I sell it mostly on eBay. And the winter update has been released. I kind of got excited because right at the front end, they started talking about, hey, we're working on that thing you guys are all talking about, unpaid items. We're going to try and fix that. We're focused on this. We're on your team. I got excited. I shouldn't have, because then I actually read the update and, well.
Nuts! Oh, nuts!
Yeah, the update is essentially, we're working on it. But not just that, it's we're working on it, and in the meantime, we're going to charge you a little bit more so that we can do that. Yeah, they're charging us more. First, what they did was they sort of soft led with that, and then they said, okay, but let's look at what we did last year. It was good. And some of it, they're right. It was. Let's take a look at a couple of the things. I jotted them down here because I'm not going to remember them all. They talked about the new eBay International Shipping Program. Yep. It's good. By all accounts, I don't use that. I use their other shipping program, or I ship it myself through Pirate Ships, simple export rate. But by all accounts, it is working out very well. They continue to roll new people into that, and I hear nothing but good things about that. So good job, eBay. But then they go and try and tout the, hey, we've been putting advertisements on Google and other major media channels. Which ones? I suppose maybe I've seen a banner ad or something here and there, and they talk about, hey, we put all this ad stuff out there, and we didn't charge you anything extra for it. Come on, eBay. They're acting like this only benefits us, right? Like, hey, we advertise to bring more people to the platform for you. Yeah, because they don't get anything out of that, right? That's silly. That's silly. First off, you didn't really advertise all that much. You advertised eBay Motors, which I guess good for those people selling in that category. But that's really, I think, all you advertised, and I didn't really see it anywhere. Now, I would actually pay. If you want to actually put ads out there on some major networks, some actual major networks, you want to put them through some streaming services, throw it on Netflix or Hulu or Peacock or any of those, I'm with you. I'd probably pay you if you wanted to have people opt in and say, hey, can you contribute to an advertising budget? Even though it's ridiculous, even though you should be doing this yourself, I would probably pay for that because you need to advertise more. They also said we work to increase vibrancy across all of our categories. I don't really know what that means. They did talk about, hey, we started something new and exciting, the eBay Vault. I know what it is. I haven't really heard anything, nobody's really excited about that. They talked about, hey, we bought a couple of things. They bought, I forget what it's called, something with eBay Motors that helps people make sure that when they buy the part, it's the right fit. I guess that's okay. That's a good thing. They bought the TCG player. It's with the cards that pairs with the Vault. Okay, I guess, but They did mention that, hey, we doubled the amount of pictures you can have on there for free from 12 to 24. And a lot of people are very excited. I've used a couple extra pictures here on a few things. And it's nice not to worry, oh man, I've got 13 pictures that I wanted to show. Which one do I not put on there? It's kind of nice to have that on there. That's good. Good job, eBay. And they also said, hey, we let you put video on there now too, which admittedly, you could do that before. It was a little bit of a workaround, but you could put video in your listings before, but now you get to actually put it in with the photos. So I'm not going to rain on that parade. That's a good one too, eBay. And then they move on to, well, here's what we're doing now. And they said, hey, we're moving closer toward our goal of eliminating unpaid items, and they have a paragraph on there where they say, we understand where it's frustrating for you to do everything right. And then you get that unpaid item. So they understand it. They say they understand. I don't know how they can't. This is something that we've been asking for years. Now, I know there are some people that are against the immediate pay option on offers. Uh, I do think, though, that that's a vast minority. I think for the bulk of eBay sellers, we want this. This is something that's going to benefit us. Now, I do think to help out those people that say that's not something that I want, that would hurt my buyers that put something in their cart, they wait, and then maybe at the end of the week they make a purchase when they get multiple things throughout. Again, I don't see that. I think a lot of people don't see that, but there are people that do. eBay should just enable us to opt in. Do we want to do it or do we not? Maybe there's a toggle, yes or no. We click the button, right? We should be able to opt into that on our account. That would solve the problem. And I wouldn't think that would be very hard to do, but it seems like anything in this arena has been hard for eBay to do. The update, we're working on it. Literally, that's pretty much the update in terms of what are they doing to actually make progress toward eliminating this whole unpaid item thing that they say they understand is frustrating. They say, yeah, we're working on it. In addition, it's a ... We're working on it. And while we do, in the meantime, we're going to charge you a little bit more. Yeah, eBay fees are going up. And they basically couch it in, hey, we're trying to make improvements here for you. We got to raise the fees. So let's talk about the raised fees. Okay. Now, there are a couple of different categories. There are categories of people that have no store whatsoever. They just have their items listed, or the starter store. I think it's called the starter store. If you have no store or the starter store, you are on one tier for fees. And so once again, I jotted them down. I'll throw a couple of things up here for you, but they say the maximum increase of the fees is 0.35%, a third of a percent, essentially, is what they say. That's the maximum increase, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but I think it's something that's going to add up. Just like when the Postal Service says, we're increasing rates, but it's only by a tiny percent. Okay, but item after item after item. I shipped like 12 or 13 items today. All of that adds up. Same thing applies here. Okay, so if you don't have a store, or you have that very bottom store, most categories, they say, are going to go from 12.9% fees to 13.25%. That's that maximum 0.35%. Now, like media, for example, most media, that is actually going up pretty high. 14.6% is where it's at already. It's going to 14.95%, basically 15% fee on media for those on that tier. Now, there are more changes for those that do have a store, and let's take a look at some of those. Again, they say most things are going from 12% to 12.35%. That includes things like vinyl, which for some reason they have pulled out of the other media categories. Why it's a standalone, I don't know. But 12 to 12.35% for vinyl. Most clothing and shoes, accessories, 12 to 12.35. Video games going up to 12.35%. Now, media, again, just like the other tier, media is going up. It's already 14.6%. It's going to 14.95%, same as the other tier. Video games, we mentioned, but video game consoles are actually a little bit lower, 6.8% right now. They're going up to 7%. Okay, so again, the maximum increase of your eBay fees, 0.35%. And they say that's to help with all this stuff they're rolling out. And really what they pinpointed was eliminating unpaid items. In other words, making sure that buyers have a form of payment on file when they send an offer. When you send an offer to them and they accept it, or when they send it to you and you accept it, even if you have immediate payment required on eBay, it doesn't apply for some reason on offers sent or received. It doesn't work. eBay is the only platform that I'm aware of that has that, actually, that you don't actually have to pay for something once you enter into a contract, which is what they say when you send an offer. Hey, this is a contract. You're agreeing to pay this amount. They're the only ones that don't seem to be able to charge people right away. For being only behind Amazon in the global market, seems odd that they go, we're working on it. We're trying to figure this thing out. it doesn't seem to be that hard, eBay. It's frustrating. eBay has been talking about this specifically for a year, since the last winter update. Us as sellers have been asking for it for a very long time. And again, I know there are some that don't want this, that don't like the idea, but I think most of us do want this and need this, because there's an awful lot of unpaid items out there. And some people will go, well, so what? It sits for 4 days and it goes back on. Yeah, but it's frustrating. It ties up an item that could otherwise sell tomorrow. And now I'm going to have to wait for 5-6 days for it to be back on the market and available to sell again. I want to move things out of the store. I don't want them sitting on a shelf, unpaid items that have sold, right? How's it sold? They haven't paid for it. Now they do say, hey, we've rolled out something to a batch of users that requires a form of payment on file. And so when you get an offer from one of those people, it will charge them, and the problem solved. I've gotten offers that you'll see on the screen. It'll say, hey, this person has entered a form of payment, and you'll be paid immediately upon accepting their offer if you do. And then I'm not paid immediately. It's happened multiple times. I don't know if it's a delay in the processing of that payment. I guess I haven't kept track of whether any of those ultimately turned into unpaid items. And maybe I should pay attention over the next few that I get and see if that in fact happens. I don't know if that's the case. So I don't know if it's just a delay in the process of the payment, or, it feels like if that's not the case, it makes me wonder if, when I was in Texas, we got into a car crash. Guy darted out in front of us, never even saw. I saw a flash of white for the longest time. I thought I saw his car right before we hit it. His car wasn't white. It was like a blue car. I saw the airbag. I saw a flash of the airbag. We're going 45, 50 miles an hour, and he went in front of us. We spun across lanes of traffic. We were very lucky that it wasn't worse than what it was. But ultimately, the guy did not have any insurance. Well, you've got to have insurance in order to get your driver's license, right? What they did is they just bought a month-to-month policy. They bought 1 month of insurance. That let them get their driver's license, and then they let it lapse. And so then they got to drive around without insurance. It makes me wonder if, when some of these things happen, if the same thing is happening with these best offers. I mean, can you put something on there that then is not valid anymore? There's not money in that account, because I don't think eBay is, when they make an offer of $15, holding that as a pending transaction, waiting to see if we say yes or no. They're not charging it until we say yes. What if there's no money then in that account? I don't understand the inner workings. I'm not pretending that I do. I just know that the system that they have in place doesn't seem to be 100%, and it is only rolled out to a portion of the people out there. Now, they do say that what they're doing, the winter update, is we're going to keep putting it out there to more people. We're going to keep giving more people this deal where they can put a payment on file. I don't know. It's kind of frustrating, like I said, that their update is, we're still working on it. And there's no, hey, by this date, we're going to have this done. It's super, super nebulous, super vague. That's annoying. And they actually, at this point, have not done anything to address. I tell most people, we got a lot of newer resellers that watch this channel, and a lot of people that get in, they know the history of eBay as an auction site. And unfortunately, eBay is not primarily an auction site anymore. For most items, you're not going to get top dollar for auctions. Though there are people, there's a reseller here in town that he pretty much runs only, actually there are a couple that pretty much only run auctions. And it can be successful. You can move lots of inventory quickly, and you try to make your money on the volume, right? You might not get top dollar, but it's all moving out. There are some people that operate that way, and that's another problem, is non-payments on auctions. These options are not available on auctions. They're not. So auction people will run their item for a week, maybe 10 days. They get a bidder that then doesn't pay. So that goes 4 days. And if all they do is run auctions, they can relist it, but then it's got to run another week. They put an item up that might not sell if they get one bad buyer, it might not sell for what, like 3 weeks? That's ridiculous. And it's just like I said, other platforms have figured this out. eBay, come on, you can do this. The winter update says we're working on it. I really hope that by the spring update, we see, hey, we've been working on it, and here's our solution. There are a couple other things in the winter update if you want to check that out. I'll throw a link down in the description of the video if you want to go check it out. There are a couple of other things in there. It's pretty light. There's not a whole lot. Also, we talked about it in the last video. It's getting to be tax time. And if you want some sort of program, some sort of place where they can help you track all of your sales, paid and non-paid, My Reseller Genie is fantastic. It's made by resellers, a reseller and an accountant. They came together and they created My Reseller Genie. It's fantastic. And thanks to them, they've offered people that go and click on this link underneath here and enter the code Mountain Man, all caps, all squished together, one word. You get 15% off of your first month. It's very affordable anyway, and that gets you a little bit of a discount. So that information is underneath in the description. Guys, I got to get going. We'll see you.